All righty. Friday, May 1st, 7:41 a.m. Eastern Time. And this is Get Soft in the Morning. And let's take a look. Crude oil, probably the story, well, one of the stories. Still kind of hovering around 104. Excuse me. Hasn't moved much. That's what I get for eating an apple during a broadcast, but I'm hungry. Yeah, I mean, and that's really all I have to say about that. There's been no real news cycle. You know, a lot of rhetoric, but nothing, I believe, that's really moving anything. The markets don't care, folks. They don't. I mean, this is the Dow. And with all the bad news supposedly circulating and how horrible everything's going on over there, the markets don't give a shit. They don't fucking care. Which makes me believe that, you know, this is all going to come to an end soon over there. And, or at least the markets need it, believe it will. And that's about all you need to know. Because we're really close to getting back to highs on the Dow. 5663. You know, another decent rally here, and we are going to be banging on highs again on the Dow. So there's that. We are already at highs on the ES. That has already taken place. And from literally a month ago, when the world was ending, remember? Remember when the world ended? Again, for the umpteenth time in my lifetime? Right? The market was going to 5,000. You had Faber out there. Wow, the market's going down, right? Everybody was Burry's short, but you know what? Shut the fuck. Who cares? And then here we go. All-time record highs. Now, look, are we going to stay up there? I don't know. You know, is it going to crash again and go down? Probably, because that's usually what it does after it makes highs. But needless to say, there you go. And same thing with the NASDAQ. And then the only index right now that needs to catch up is the Russell. And it is very close. And the highs on the Russell are 28.70. And I have an alert up there. So it is very close as well. And that's really all I have to say about that. And then gold, after having a pretty good rally, had it fizzle out again. Yet again, another rally in gold, fizzling out and representing a really, really nice short opportunity if you took it. I didn't. And that's how we go. Soybeans continue to be strong, right? They bounced really nice off these levels down here. I would continue to be, they did get some rain out in the Midwest, and that kind of caused a little bit of a sell-off, but overall, still in the bullish camp on these grains, soybeans specifically. Even wheat had a pretty nice bounce yesterday after selling off. So we will see what happens with that, but I still like to see another decent pullback here in these soybeans. I'm still looking for, I don't think we're going to get down to those 1189s again, but quite possibly, maybe we do. But, anything under 1190, I kind of like here. And, I'll be looking for something there. What else? Oh, earnings. Earnings. Meta, right, recovered a bit. It went down as much as, it went damn close to 600. And then Microsoft, I don't know, I don't think it did fall below, or it got really close. It barely, touched 400. And it's actually trading at 409. It's up a couple of dollars today, but it did bounce fairly nicely. And then, speaking of that, let's go in what I had done yesterday. And you can see I have a number of Microsoft trades, and I'm long Microsoft, and probably long in the tooth, probably too much because I'm way out here. You can see I'm in the 500s, 480s. I'm even out near 600 in December. I'm not sure we get there, but I did sell this vertical spread yesterday. Where the hell is it? And I got beat up a little bit. This one right here. This one right here. I'm in this 410, 420. It's a 420, 410. It's in May. There it is right there. I sold the 420, 410. Now, I was going to do it naked. I was just going to sell the put. But given the price action yesterday with Microsoft, I kind of knew selling the put that there may be a little bit more downside. So I decided to kind of do a spread instead. So that's why I did the $10 wide put spread, as opposed to just selling, the options outright, because it just didn't have a good. I didn't have a good feel. I wanted to take the trade because I knew it was the right thing to do, but knowingly I had some apprehension. So what I did is I reduced the risk, right? So rather than be completely naked, I just made it risk defined and covered it on the other side. It is down. It was down a lot worse yesterday when I did it. I think I'm down about $60, but the beauty of this trade is I don't really need Microsoft to go even much higher than this. I really only need it to be over 410. And I also need maybe a little bit more of this volatility to kind of collapse out of here. I have 14 days on this trade. And what I'd be looking to do, if I get even closer to break even on this, I will likely roll this. Into June. Okay? So that's kind of the game plan on the Microsoft trade. And what I'm looking to do. All right, so I'm actually going to be up a little bit more. It's actually going to come in a little bit more today. And we'll see how it goes. So I thought that was a better play than doing anything else. So that's kind of where I sit with that one. So we did do that trade. And then Apple, I tried to do something in Apple. I tried to do the Iron Condor that we spoke about, and I didn't get filled. I did not get filled. I was looking to do the 290, 295. And I was actually going to skew it. I was actually going to come up to the 260s, as I said, and do a 260, 255. But I did not get filled. And I actually played around with it a little bit and not getting filled. And I was kind of like, usually I'm not real like strong-minded about it, where if they're not filling me at or around the price that I'm looking to get, I always take it as there's a reason for that, and I probably shouldn't be in it. So that's what I did. Unfortunate for me, because it would have come in perfectly because you're going to get that volatility collapse, It's within the expected moves, trading at 282. It would have came in, this one would have came in probably pretty nicely. But it didn't. And then Apple has, Apple kind of has lifted all ships here in general in the markets. And that's why, the NASDAQ, even though it's down, that's why the NASDAQ is really not rolled over, is you kind of have Apple kind of holding that up. And the reason the Dow is up today is because of Apple. As I eat an apple. So, that is that. There were some other earnings that came out this morning. Like, you have a lot of these oil companies like Chevron, Exxon. I didn't really look at them. I don't really trade them. And then next week, you're going to have a few on deck that look, I'm just going to say they look somewhat interesting, like Super Micro, with all the shit that happened with them, with the chips and all that other stuff. Probably going to be interested in that one next week. As far as the other ones, I'm kind of looking down the list here. There's not much else. Disney, I can't stand trading earnings on because Disney's a kind of a crap. And maybe Coinbase. And because Coinbase is relatively liquid, I'll probably do something in there. Outside of that, and Uber. Uber's usually not a bad one to do on earnings as well. So, and that'll pretty much wrap it up. After next week, we're probably going to be out of the earnings cycle for the most part. You basically have those companies, most of these companies left, and some of them are pretty big. Yeah, I see Pfizer's in there and whatnot. And then after that, we're going to be back into a cycle where it's going to be just the markets and the news. And that's it. And there's really not much else to say, folks, other than, pick your spots. Be patient. Don't be a moron. I'm seeing more and more posts and more things about folks blowing their accounts and complaining about the price action, and it makes me laugh because, especially when I see someone who's can't be more than 30 years old sitting there bitching and moaning about price action and, this is the worst price action I ever fucking seen in my life. It's like, dude, you're 30 years old. You've been doing this shit for what, 4 or 5 years now? Not even, probably, right? So, like, what are you talking about? Just be, you don't have to trade. I can't stress that enough. You don't have to trade. And if you feel so compelled that you have to do something, I always say if you always feel compelled that you have to do something, do an options trade or something. Because generally speaking, if you do an options trade, everything's, for the most part, risk defined. And and they're usually more of swing trades. And you can kind of get that itch taken away from you. Because you don't have to trade futures every day. And I've been saying it on here a number of times. I think it's great that there's so many folks out there supposedly trading live and showing people what to do. They're not doing anybody any favors by doing that, folks. They're not doing anybody any favors. Because the reality is that, although they may seem like you might, and you look at it and you say, oh, wow, every time this guy does something, he makes money. And yeah, that's probably true, but put it in perspective. That's not real money. And I'm not going to say it's not real money, but it's not real money. Number one, it's not really real money, and it's not their money. It is not their own personal, account. They're fucking futures trading combines, right? They're not real money. Even though you can get payouts, and I understand all that shit, but your risk and your mentality trading those accounts, and trust me, I know because I trade them myself, the way you think trading those accounts is completely 100% different than you would trade your own personal account. There is no question about it. Don't let anybody bullshit you that these people out here in La La Land are trading exactly the same way in these prop firm accounts as they are in their personal account. And if they are, I will guarantee that their personal account is getting the shit knocked out of it. Because the reality is there's no way anyone's trading real money like they show on the screen and getting the fills that they get, that is the same as trading real money. So just be aware of that and don't get yourself all whacked out about all that hype bullshit. And I know they're trading multiple accounts but look, 95% of what you see, they're not real. They're not live. They're not real live so-called accounts. They're not. They're sim accounts that you can get payouts on. Big difference. Big difference, right? In a sim account. In a sim account, there's no data feed, right? A lot of these platforms are working on their own data feed or some kind of open source data feed. So again, and if you were to take these trades in a real account, you're probably going to get slippage, especially if you're trading something like gold, or even I know the Russell is a little thin. And then I also see people trading silver. Silver's a very thin market as well. There's a lot of slippage in there that you're not going to get if you're trading in a sim account. So just kind of, look, put it in perspective, folks. That's all. And then your goal with these prop firms, you shouldn't be rinsing prop firm accounts 5 at a clip every single place you go. Your goal should be to rinse these prop firms, get payouts, and then take that money, make it yours, and then have your own account and have your own money that now becomes yours, so then you don't need to be dependent on that prop firm anymore. That is the goal of a prop firm. But so many people have just made a living out of telling people that, right? They tell people that online, and I see a ton of them. They're out there like, yeah, get payouts and go to the prop firm, and then here they are, next day, they're in a new combine, or they're in a new prop firm account with whoever it is, Lucid or Apex, and they're trading prop money again. And it's like, well, I thought you got payouts. And if you got payouts and you got your own money, why don't you show the fucking personal account that you have? Now, I don't want to see the account number, but trade your personal account and show that and trade that. Why don't you trade that then? Right? So anyway, just put it in perspective, folks. There's just a lot of bullshit out there. It's going to go away, though. I highly believe that a lot of it's going to end soon. And not anything that I have insight on. It's just I see the nature of the beast, and there's just too much garbage going on with it right now. So anyway, that's kind of all I got. I'm not going to go on a rant anymore here. I kind of said what I said. And if I'm going to be looking to do anything today, I'm probably going to trade the Russell. I don't even know if I'll do anything. I think today is probably going to be another day where I'm just like out to lunch. Because, there's really nothing in these markets, even this last week or two, that has been very interesting. Like, there's been moments where you could have made some nice trades, but, if you have something else going on, go do it. And don't stare at these markets. Because, just remember, the person out there you see trading, they have to trade when they're online. Like, you're not going to watch somebody stream all day. that trades live, if they don't put any trades in, if they just say, you know what, today is just not a good day that it's just not a good day that you're not going to trade. Real traders and people who really do it for a living, who are not influencers, they have days that they just don't trade. There's like zero trades at all. And so just remember that. No, those people have to trade because that is what butters their bread. Because if they come online and they're, trading prop firms and they're not trading, and they come and say, well, you know what, today's a bad day. It's just not a day worth trading. And they don't trade, no one's going to watch. And so they have to. So just remember that. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. And I will be back.